Okay, so... Right, so sounds. I'm gonna go ahead and close that window. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna... Oh yeah, we're gonna create our sound folder. So, well, technically we already created it, but you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the mod tools folder, navigate back to where the data SFL, and go to sound, worlds SFL, and then make sure it's there, even though obviously it is. And freaking Windows, this is not music, you drunk. God. Whoops, I'm gonna actually just go ahead and, real quick, change the stupid folder settings. I wish I could make it so WAV files were automatically detected to not set the folder for music. Windows. Change that to documents, apply to all subfolders. There we go. Even though it's gonna change it back at some time, I know it will, it always does. But yay, Windows. So, yeah. I also oftentimes like to have the, like if I have a bunch of music in the folder, I also like to have the length organizer just because of reasons. But yeah, it's not really necessary. I just showing you. So gonna go ahead and go back. Now we need to get what the way I pronounce it is rec file kind of. But it's the REQ file, so yeah. We're gonna go ahead and grab one of the stock ones. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and grab a couple of these files. Let's grab the main core.rec, and we're gonna grab core1.snd for sound, core.sound, and core1.stm for stream. st4 is for quadraphonic streams. Again, I'm not going to go over this in this tutorial. Go over that in this tutorial. And so we're going to copy them. Control-C copy. Go back to SFL and then paste them. I'm going to go ahead and right now just change this to SFL. And SFL config. That's usually my the way I, yeah. And then SFL S for streaming. That's usually what I do for file name formats. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the REQ. You can open this in Notepad or Notepad++. I use Notepad++ because reasons of it's awesome and better. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So in this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and open all the files up, and then I'm gonna delete what I don't want out of here, which is almost everything. No. Actually, I'll just leave that how it is and get to it eventually. So much. Okay, yeah, I'll just kind of clean up the file, get rid of what I don't want out of it. I'm not going to go over sound spaces because that's... I still don't even understand sound spaces to their fullest. Rather, I understand them, but implementing them can be really painful. So, yeah. I'm not going to bother going over that in this tutorial anyways. Yeah. Okay, now we have all our files. So rec files. So, what we have here is, so you probably are wondering, kind of asking yourself, why did he only copy one of them? Don't we need two? No, you do not need two. You do not need to have, like, the different, sub-level files. These are not, you do not need these files, because the reason why these are here in the first place is because they're loading the different eras sound effects, and yeah, just the sound effects, not voiceovers as well. They're loading the different era sound effects, and we don't, since we're only if you're only implementing like just a sound stream or something and a couple sound effects, you do not need to bother with different sub-levels. In fact, I want to say it increases file size, but not too much anyways, since the streams are since if you just did it this way with the sub-levels, then the streams would just be stored in the main one. They're not duplicated, like sound effects would be, and all that. It's just a bunch of nonsense. So, yeah, so what but we are gonna keep this header over here. Rather, not gonna keep it, we're gonna rename it. So we're gonna rename this to config for the header. The header name is config, and which covers a crap ton of different file formats. Most notably, at least in this tutorial, or in our situation, the SND files. So we're gonna go ahead and stick the name of it here. It's sfl_config, and I'm pretty sure that the naming doesn't matter, or not the naming. The naming does matter. The capitalization does not, because that's just the way NTFS not file format. The way NTFS hard drive format. I don't remember, but it's, yeah, you know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not important. But yeah. But I typically tend to keep the capitalization the same, just because yeah. So now we're gonna change the we're gonna keep these two headers. We need the alignment header this, according to Fred, like aligns the byte size, I guess, for the I don't know exactly what it's for, but it aligns the byte size for the headers. I don't know, it's weird. So we don't obviously want to change that. And do not change this to STM, I swear. I don't think anyone does that anyway, so it's not an issue. But okay, so we're gonna this header, this str header, this covers STM files and ST4 files. I believe those are the only two. I'm almost positive. Yeah, that sounds about right. Just formatting this real quick, making it not horrible. There we go, much better. Hate how everything is. I hate how all the shipped assets come with spaces instead of indentations. So annoying. But well. That's just me, and probably some other OCD-ish people too, like me. Okay, anyways, so we're gonna change the thing to our STM file, our stream file. Whoops, I have caps lock on. So it's sfl_s, and gonna go ahead and save it. And now, I actually usually edit this before this because this has stuff that needs to be, that like depends on that or whatever. So gonna go ahead and, so this is our STM file. This lists all the different streams that we have, or rather it lists all the streams that we want to load into the level file. This resample thing, this resample option, what it does is it changes the sample rate. It changes the sample rate that each WAV file is munged to. Not that each file, that the file that it's associated with. So, for instance, amp Jedi Council 01 PL2. So, yeah. And it's really useful if you don't want to like re-export all of your files to like at different sample rates. But it's yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that, and then not open a new tab. And then change the formatting, fix it. Then we're gonna change the name of the WAV file listed to, what did we call that again? And SFL string. That's right. Yeah, we could just go ahead and F2 and copy the name, then just paste it. And here we're gonna change the alias, and this is completely optional, as is the resample parameter, which is why I deleted it, because I don't want it. But so aliasing files is more useful for consoles, like if you're obviously modding for consoles, but you know, most of us aren't able to do that for various reasons, so I'm not going to bother like explaining much of it. But basically creating an alias makes it so you can, it's just easy if like the file names aren't as like legible, I guess you could say, if they don't like make as much sense at a first glance as to what file they are, it's easy to have like an alias like core amp console instead of amp JDA console 01 PL2. But yeah, so I typically with streams, except for like voiceovers, I tend to alias them just because just because I use a different naming format. Rather, because I use this naming format for ambience and like weird naming formats for music usually. But it's just good. It's just standard practice, I guess you could say, to do. But it's not necessary. So if you wanted, you could just delete it and just reference the file name directly. But you don't have to do that. But I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna change that to SFL amb storm. I'm gonna go ahead and save the file, and then I'm gonna copy SFL amb storm. Then I'm gonna go back into the sound file. So in here we have our sound stream property, or properties, I guess, rather. And so I guess I'll just go ahead and explain each of these different parameters here. So the name parameter, this is what's referenced by the game in like in like your sound stream regions, or if it's music, then by the Lua. I guess you'd also have a music file as well, but that's a different case. So this is not this does not, even though these are named the same, they're not the same. These are two different things. Like this, what segment is referencing is the it's referencing the aliases or the file names in the STM file, and then we have the STM or SD4 file that it's being all the segments have to be referenced out of. So in our case, we have SFL_S. So that's our STM file, or stream file, as I like to call that more. And then we also have our gain parameter, and this accepts values from 0 to 1. This is basically like the volume of the sound property. So I usually set this to 1.0 for testing, and then I kind of lower it as I need to, if I need to. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that to 1 now. And then there's also the inherit, the inherit parameter. And what this does is it inherits properties from, it can inherit properties from different soundstream properties, in our case. And if this was just a normal sound property, then, you know, it would have to inherit from a sound property instead of a sound stream property. But, yeah, so I'll actually just real quick go ahead and show you the location of all of these different kind of templates real quick. Let's go ahead and open up a new folder. Excuse me. And I believe it's in, it's either in assets? Yeah, it's in assets, common, sound, global.sound. Okay, I'm just going to change this right now. It's really bothering me. Okay, good. And I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And located in this file is a bunch of stuff. It has all the different buses, which I might go over eventually. I don't know, they're not that important, and most people don't even need to bother doing anything with them. But so here's where we have all our different templates, and as you can see, there's a lot of them. Quite a few. And this file also contains, I don't even think these are used. I think this is from Battlefront 1. I think, no, these ones are used. But that's like it. Oh, for some reason also like the missile lock-on stuff is in here. But classic pandemic, lazy as normal. Or rather, Booked for time is normal. Thanks, by the way, George Lucas. Anyways, so I'll just go ahead and Control F to find this one. So what inherit is doing is it's basically taking all these other properties and using them. It's inheriting these properties from ambient effects underscore template. And it's applying it to this. It's basically an easier and much cleaner way of like just copy and pasting all these into here. But you can of course overwrite any of them by just having different parameters that you want to overwrite in here. So like the ambient effects template has for the PC 0.8 normally, but I don't want 0.8, so I would just have gain 1.0, for instance, or whatever value I want. But yeah, and then group is weird. Group is different. It's from what I can tell, it's only used by Lua. It's used with the scale sound parameter function in Lua, which allows you to do various things. It's actually really useful for like mods and stuff. It allows you to scale the gain of a group. It allows you to scale a group's minimum or mute or max distance, pitch, and just several other things. It's really, really useful depending on what you're working on, of course. But yeah, typically you would want to it doesn't really matter if you use your own name for this. I mean, it's probably not going to be affected by anything else, but outside of Lua. But yeah, so that's that. I don't think there's a list or anything of all the different stock groups that are used. I might make one. I mean, there aren't really too many. There's like ambient, and I'm not gonna name all of them. So anyways, so let's go ahead and continue on here. I'll just go ahead and close that. Won't need it. So we're gonna go ahead and copy SFIM Storm, and then we're gonna copy and paste it into the segment, because remember, segment that references things out of here, either aliases or file names. And if I didn't want to do an alias, if I had no alias and I just had a file name, I would just reference the file name without the file extension. So like instead of SFLM whatever, I would have that, and it would be the exact same as having this. But so this is what I'm going to use though. So yeah, and in case you're wondering what this 1.0 does, this is in case it doesn't really matter what it's set to, as long as you don't go too terribly high, like into millions or hundreds of thousands, in which case it'll overflow because primitive data types, yay. But this is like a weight. Like if let's say I have 2 stream files that I might want to be referenced. If I have the weight of them, it's similar to how goals are weighted, like AI goals. It's actually basically exactly the same, but the usefulness is different. Like it's a different kind of usage typically. Like if I let's say I set this to 0.7. If I set that to 0.7, then SFLM Storm 1 would have a less of a chance of being selected to be played than SFL Storm 2, which has a weight of 1.0. And these do not, contrary to common belief, these do not have to equal, like the sum of all the different segments weight do not have to equal 1. They do not. They can be freaking 100, 200 if you want. But yeah. But anyways, so there's that. So let's see, anything else in here? Oh yeah, there's also. So the name. So yeah, the sound stream property name. Typically, what I do is I just use the same name as the segment alias, unless of course I have two, or rather just more than one segment, which I usually don't, or actually I don't think I've ever had more than one for a ambient sound stream, but yeah. Nor do I think any of the stock files do. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and set this the same as that. But you might want to have it a little different just to avoid confusion. Like you might want to have it maybe property. Like that's what Pandemic did a lot with their vehicle sound properties. But yeah, that's not what I do though. So yeah, now we have our. I think we should have. This should be about it for our sound file. Setting up our sound files. Yeah. Should be it. Okay, next, let's go ahead and munge our sound files now. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So the way I never use Visual Munge. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now. I never use Visual Munge because I think it's awful. And because it's not bad inherently. It doesn't always work. Whereas just running the batch files themselves basically does always work. Is if you know what you're doing, of course, but it's not hard at all to learn or anything, so. But yes, and especially with sound, because I'm pretty sure you can't even munge sound from the Visual Munge. But yeah, so if you're gonna munge sound, it's best to just run munge.bat in data SFL or data ABC or whatever your thing is, build sound. So yeah, just go ahead and run that. Oops, I should probably get rid of none of these errors. These errors are probably all. These are all pertaining to different stuff. Real quick, I'm just gonna actually remove or comment out the friggin' stock sound ones. I believe I don't need them. There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. There we go. Much better. Much lovelier. Lovelier. So these are the if you see these three errors, you are fine. Nothing is wrong. There's all three of these errors ship with the game. So basically, I don't know why it's really annoying. Yes, I know, but don't worry about them. They're fine. If I knew how to get rid of them, I would tell you, but I don't. I would love to find out though. It's probably not hard. I probably just fix. I'm pretty sure. I think I actually have tried it once, but when I satisfied this requirement, there was another file that needed to be satisfied, and then when I satisfied that one, there was another, and then another, and then another, and then another. It's just so many, but it's just not worth it. It's just really not worth it at all. So yeah, now that we've munged our sound, I'm gonna go ahead into level PC, into sound, and yeah, it should. Looks like it. I'm gonna go ahead and destroy that. It looks like it munged correctly. So yeah, go ahead and copy that. Copy that sfl.lvl level, I should say. I'm gonna go ahead and close this folder. And then go to game data, add on your folders folder, data of PC, whatever. And then sound. It doesn't have to be called sound, it can be called whatever, as long as you reference it correctly in your Lua, or your mission script in your Lua, you know, whatever. Then paste it in there, and bam. And now we're gonna edit our Lua. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just close out soundmunge.bat because it's not really pertinent to anything. So here's our mission script. It's pretty standard. This is basically the stock one with a couple changes. Like AI is disabled and stuff. So the first thing we need to do is we need to call the our sound file. So the way we do that is like this. You just you call the sound file. I mean, just like you call any level file. But in this case, we don't need the semicolon. We don't need to be we don't have any sublevels to call, so we're not going to bother with that. Have DC to let the game know that it's looking in our current working folder, which would be SFL in my case, or rather SFL data level PC, and then change that to SFL.level, or whatever your level file's name is. And that's that. And make sure, I've usually only had success putting the custom sound, like if you're loading stock sounds, which almost everyone will be, you should put the your custom read data file line over top the stock one. But yeah, so that's a thing. And then now we want the open audio stream line. So we're just gonna duplicate one of them, and then basically just kind of copy this part, rather that part. Where was it? There it is. And then that. And then the second argument in this function is asking for the STM or SD4 file. So in this case, it's looking for yavin1.stm, but at least originally, rather, I should say it is. But for us, it's SFL_S. So that's the sound stream file that it's looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and comment that out. Don't need it. It's a waste of space. And yeah, so there's that. The mission script shouldn't need anything more than that. You might need a memory pools thing. You probably shouldn't, but you might with here. But there's like basically a 0% chance that you will. It's actually more for sound spaces that you need these, or to need to change anything with these. But yeah, so that's that with the mission script. Now we're gonna open up our map in Zero Editor. Go ahead and load up the map. As you can see, I've prepared basically as you can see, I've basically prepared the shipped crappy stock, not, you know what I mean, the shipped Yavin map, basically Yavin quote unquote, even though it's like none of these assets are using Yavin. But they're called Yavin, so whatever. So what I'm going to do first is actually create a layer and call it sound streams, just so we can be organized here, because that organization is key to success. Not really, but it is. And then we're going to make sure we update the world rec and mode MRQs, and then just double click your main rec file. Then save it.
I think your butt is a bit more important.
And yes, of course, duh. And then we're gonna create, make sure we're in our sound streams region, and then we're gonna create a new region. Yeah, and just place it around the center, and then select the region and make sure it has to be changed to sphere, and then change the type to sound stream. And in fact, you're not even able to have it anything. You're not even able to have anything but a sphere for a sound stream region. So, yeah, and then change the height to a lot, basically, 1,000 even. Maybe not 1,000. Okay, that's a little bit much. Make sure it encompasses the entire map, or at least for in our situation, we want it encompassing the entire map, because there's no other indoor parts of the of our world that we want to have their own sound streams, so we don't need to bother like separating everything. And so yeah, the region name itself doesn't really matter, but typically you would name it like global amb or something. It doesn't really matter. Or like if you have different like, or rather multiple sound stream regions, you would have like wind amb or like int for interior, or ambient, or whatever, for ambience first. But yeah, so global amp in our case. And so sound property name. This is asking for this sound, our sound stream property name. So we're gonna go ahead and find it, which I already remember, but you know, just want to make sure we named it right. So it's SFL amp storm. So I typically don't like to bother copying and pasting values in Zero Editor because it can be weird and kind of iffy sometimes because of Zero Editor's weird UI and text selection stuff. But yeah, so I'll just type that in manually. So it's SFL amp storm. SFL underscore amp storm. Oh, and by the way, that minimum distance divisor, this value is it's exactly how it sounds, which probably doesn't help at all. It's the divisor, it's the minimum distance divisor for the sound, so it's easier to visualize. So basically what this is visually representing is this like brighter green sphere in the middle is like the maximum gain radius, like, but once you start moving outside of this sphere, the gain of the sound will linearly decrease until you reach the very edge, in which case it'll be 0. So it's like it's not as useful for global ambience unless you're like your crickets or whatever, like if you have a cricket sound stream, crickets and frogs and such, and like there's like a massive lake, like maybe you would want like freaking like a value of 4, and then like if that's like around the area of the lake, you'd have it so if like the players are getting further away from like the lake, then it would be quite, but yeah, you know. So now we're gonna save the file.
A bit more important.
And should be all we need to do here.
I think your butt is a bit more important. Bang, okay?
I'll close Super Editor because it's unstable as crap. And then we're gonna go ahead and munch the map. As well as our mission scripts. While we wait for mission scripts to munch, we'll just copy this over. Oops. Copy it into the maps folder. And it should be done. Or I guess not. Right. Okay. Now it's done. Then copy core and mission. Well, you don't need to do core, but you know. Copy them in, overwrite them. And yeah, now we can test. Let's go ahead and do so. Let's find our map, SFL. And with luck, it should work. There's really no reason for it to not work, but this is Zero Engine, so there's no definites. And it crashed. Great. Okay, that's wonderful. I probably messed with something. I can't imagine what. Let's go ahead and fix that. I don't know why. that would affect it, but probably isn't, but... yeah. While we wait for that to munch, let's just go ahead and launch the debugger. Just because. It's actually launching, which it's not. Now it's done. Probably just like soldier animation or something. Usually is. For first. What? Okay. So did not load it. Okay. This... I hate to say that this is normal, but it is, so... Classic Zero Engine. What isn't being loaded here? So now, yay, a debugging part. Okay, so stream file is right. Spell S. Wait, is storm wave sodium storm? Did I name the thing in Zero right? Pretty sure I did. Oops.
I think your butt is a bit more important. We'll bang, okay?
Go ahead and get rid of that loading bit, whatever. Actually, get rid of this one. Because these aren't necessary, we're not loading any of it anyways. Launch that. Close that. Let's try this. No promises. Gotta love the Zero engines. It might be because of the STM file that we copied over. It's really weird because sometimes some stream files are like, some of them work, I guess, and some of them don't work. It's really weird. But I know what I'll do. I'll just take one of mine from Mass Effect Unification because I know all of those work. Just steal one of them. I don't know which, but voiceover one, sure. Wait, whoops, that's not what I want. I wanna friggin' no. Copy all the contents. Yeah. Should be good. By that I mean it's probably not good. SFL S. Keep it open just because. I don't know if it's the stream file though, because wait, I didn't say SLF, did I? Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, it should be fine. I can remunch it. Did I change anything else? I don't think so. Oops, need to start open. Just want to restart just to make sure, because I overwrote the file like mid-load, and sometimes it doesn't work. Just want to be sure though. I thought, it might be the layer. I have a feeling it is, just because sometimes it doesn't work, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's weird. Move that to that layer. Just gonna go and do that.
Nice.
Just because.
I think your butt was a bit more important. We'll bang, okay?
And then build worlds SFL. Now let's try it. Okay, this is getting irritating. I love Battlefront. Actually, I want to check the sound file itself. Unless I'm getting a debugging thing into the thing as well. I'll make sure. I'm pretty sure I did the right read and type. I don't usually mess that up. Soundstream, yeah, that's right. Oh! I knew it! Uh-huh. One tiny typo. One typo. That's all it takes. One typo. Wow. I knew it. I knew that would be the issue. That's always the issue. Ugh. Of course. Blasted typo. Okay, now I can move back to this layer. Doesn't work again.
I think your butt was a bit more important. We'll bang, okay?
There we go. Yeah, this should work this time. I don't know why I crashed that. That was weird that one time. Probably, it must have been because of the units. I don't know. Kind of don't want them there, though. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. There we go. Yep, perfect, works. Awesome. Sweet. Now let's spice up the map a little bit, just because we can. Let's go ahead and shove Megiddo Sky, because reasons. What else is there on PC phone? Okay, good, there's not. Destroy all these. Yeah, no, not happening. Let's go ahead and stick some rain. Grab Kamina's rain. Nah, no lightning. We don't have lightning. Nor water. Nor lightning. Again. Really? Go ahead and up the velocity a little bit, even though it won't really make a difference. Times by 10. Change the range to, like, I don't know, freaking 5. Sounds about right. Make sure it even has that. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. Clean that out. And fix the lighting, of course.
I think your butt was a bit more important. We'll bang, okay?
Okay. Let's check that out now. Oh, the lighting will probably be off for it. Rip. Whoops. Nope. Why am I in first person? I never play in first person. So the bouncing lighting should be weaker a little bit.
I think your butt is a bit more important. We'll bang, okay?
I also am gonna take Kamina's world instead. Or Kamina's sky instead, rather. No, go away. No, just no. Heck is all the sky stuff? Oh, right. There we go, that should be better. Yeah. Perfect. Well, the lighting's not perfect, but you know, you get the gist of it. What does wind even do? You know? Rip. Rip. You know? Okay, yeah, no. Okay. So yeah. That's basically it. Basically covers everything, except all that it doesn't cover. Yeah. Awesome.